Ladies and gentlemen, friends and dreamers, life is too precious to live chained down. Many of us walk around carrying invisible weights: fear, doubt, toxic people, limiting beliefs, regrets of the past, and anxieties about the future. These chains may not be seen, but they are felt deeply. They stop us from living the life we were born to live. But here's the truth: those chains do not define you. You were not created to be a prisoner of your past, a victim of your circumstances, or a slave to other people's opinions. You were created to rise, to live free, and to take back your life with courage and purpose. Before you can ever break free, you must first know what is holding you captive. Imagine a prisoner in a cell. How could they escape if they don't even realize the door is locked? The same applies to your life. Too often, we go through our days carrying invisible chains without even naming them. They weigh us down quietly, silently, until we start to accept them as normal. But chains are not normal. They are burdens meant to be broken. Ask yourself, what are the specific chains in my life? For some, it may be fear, the fear of failure, of rejection, of not being enough. For others, it may be the opinions of people, living every day, trying to meet someone else's standards, while neglecting your own. Some of us are chained to the past, mistakes, regrets, shame, or old wounds that we keep reopening by replaying them in our minds. Others are shackled by comfort zones, staying in the same place, not because it's fulfilling, but because it feels safe. And then there are those whose chains come in the form of unhealthy relationships, jobs that drain their souls, or habits that destroy their growth. The truth is, chains can look different for everyone. Your chain might not be visible to others, but you feel it in your heart every single day. It shows up in the way you second guess yourself, in the dreams you keep putting off, in the heaviness you feel when you know deep inside, this isn't the life I was meant to live. Identifying these chains requires brutal honesty. You must be willing to confront yourself in the mirror and say, what is really stopping me? What am I clinging to that I need to let go of? What excuses am I hiding behind? Because every excuse is a chain, every self-doubt is a chain, every unhealthy attachment is a chain. Don't rush this step. This is soul work. Write it down. Reflect on it. Speak it out loud. Because once you name your chains, you weaken them. What we keep hidden in the dark grows stronger, but the moment you bring it into the light of awareness, its power begins to fade. Never forget, you cannot heal what you refuse to acknowledge, and you cannot escape a prison you refuse to see. The first step toward freedom is the courage to say, these are my chains, and I am no longer willing to carry them. One of the heaviest chains people carry is the past, running through the park. It doesn't matter how strong you are, if you're dragging the weight of yesterday behind you, you will never be able to run into the future. Yet so many of us live as prisoners of what has already happened. Mistakes, failures, disappointments, heartbreaks, betrayals. We replay old conversations in our heads. We relive painful memories as if we're stuck on a loop. We beat ourselves up for choices we made when we didn't know any better. But here is the truth you must understand. Past is a place of reference, not a place of residence. It is a chapter in your book, not the whole story. Yes, you made mistakes, but you learned from them. Yes, people hurt you, but you grew stronger because of it. Yes, you failed, but failure was never the end. It was simply a lesson that prepared you for the next level. Holding on to the past is like carrying a bag of stones on your back. At first, you may think you can handle it. But as time goes on, the bag gets heavier and heavier until you can no longer move forward. Some of you are exhausted, not because your future is impossible, but because you are carrying unnecessary baggage from your past. Letting go does not mean you forget what happened. It means you choose not to let it control you anymore. Forgiveness is a key part of this. Running through the puck. Forgive others not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Forgive yourself because you cannot punish yourself into healing. Every day you spend chained to regret is a day stolen from your future joy. Ask yourself, what am I still holding on to that is weighing me down? Is it guilt? Is it anger? Is it shame? Or maybe it's nostalgia, holding on to a version of life that no longer exists. Whatever it is, you must decide today, I am not going to let yesterday steal my tomorrow. Releasing the past is not easy. It takes courage to let go of what feels familiar, even when it's painful. But imagine this, running through the park. Your future is like a door waiting for you to walk through it. If your hands are full of yesterday's chains, how will you ever open it? The moment you release the past, your hands become free to receive what life has for you next. Remember, you are not the mistakes you made. You are not the pain you endured. You are not the labels others gave you. You are stronger, wiser, and more resilient because of it all. Your past shaped you, but it does not define you. So, stop rehearsing what went wrong. Stop replaying what you cannot change. Choose to forgive, to release, and to move forward. Because the more you hold on to the past, the more you delay your future. And the more you let it go, the more you discover the freedom, joy, and peace that were waiting for you all along. One of the strongest chains holding people back is the company they keep. You see, freedom is not just about what you let go of inside yourself, it's also about who you choose to keep around you. The truth is, everyone in your life is meant to go with you where you are headed. Some people are lessons, not lifelong companions. And if you don't learn to recognize toxic influences, you'll end up living someone else's life instead of your own. Toxic influences come in many forms. They can be friends who drain you, family members who constantly belittle you, coworkers who gossip about you, or partners who manipulate and control you. Sometimes toxicity isn't obvious. It doesn't always scream. It often whispers. Shows up in subtle comments that make you doubt yourself, in constant negativity that kills your dreams, or in the way someone keeps taking from you but never gives back. Ask yourself, do the people in my life feed my growth, or do they starve it? Because the truth is, you cannot soar like an eagle if you keep walking with chickens. Energy is contagious. If you surround yourself with people who are bitter, angry, lazy, and negative, you will eventually absorb their energy. When you surround yourself with people who are positive, ambitious, supportive, and uplifting, you rise to their level. Detaching from toxic influences does not mean you hate them. It means you love yourself enough to protect your peace. You cannot save someone who is committed to staying broken. You cannot heal someone who refuses to admit they are toxic. And you cannot sacrifice your mental, emotional, and spiritual health just to keep someone else comfortable. Running through the puck. Sometimes the hardest chains to break are the ones tied to relationships we've had for years. Maybe it's a friend you've known since childhood. Maybe it's a family member you feel obligated to endure. Maybe it's a partner you keep giving chance after chance, even though deep down you know they are destroying your peace. Let me tell you this, loyalty is a beautiful thing. But blind loyalty is a prison. Just because someone has been in your life a long time doesn't mean they deserve to stay in your future. Detachment is an act of courage. It requires you to say, I choose my peace over their chaos. I choose my growth over their comfort. I choose my future over their past. The moment you detach from toxic influences, you create space for healthier, more uplifting people to enter your life. But as long as you hold on to what is poisoning you, you cannot receive what is meant to heal you. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it is survival. Think about it, a tree cannot grow if its roots are poisoned. Likewise, you cannot flourish if you keep feeding your soul with negativity. you must be willing to set boundaries. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are doors to decide who is worthy of entering your life and who is not. Here's the hard truth. Some people only love the version of you that serves their needs. When you start growing, when you start healing, when you start demanding respect, those same people may accuse you of changing. And you know what? They're right. You are changing. You are evolving. You are breaking free. Do not let guilt pull you back into the prison you fought so hard to escape. Detach from the toxic. Walk away from what drains you. Say goodbye to the voices that belittle your worth. Your future depends on it. Because freedom is not only about cutting the chains inside you, it's also about cutting the chains tied to the wrong people around you. The strongest chains you will ever face are not on your hands, not on your feet, not on your body. They are in your mind. The mind can be your greatest weapon or your greatest prison. And for many people, it becomes a prison of limiting beliefs, those hidden thoughts that whisper, you can't. You're not enough. You'll never make it. Where you are. Here's the painful truth. Most people are not truly defeated by external circumstances. They are defeated by the lies they believe about themselves. A person can be free on the outside, but still live chained on the inside. They might appear confident, but deep down, they hear a constant voice of doubt. That voice says, you're too old, you're too young, you don't have the resources, you don't have the education, you don't have what it takes. And because they believe it, they never even try. But let me tell you something, those beliefs are not facts, they are fears disguised as truth. They are stories planted in your mind by past experiences, by failures, by what people told you, or by society's expectations. And just because you thought something for years does not make it true. Think about it, every great achievement in history was once considered impossible. Flying was impossible until the Wright brothers did it. Breaking the 4-minute mile was impossible until Roger Bannister did it. Countless breakthroughs were once unrealistic until someone dared to challenge the belief. The same applies to your life. What you believe is impossible for you is often just untested potential waiting to be unlocked. So how do you challenge these limiting beliefs? First, become aware of them. Ask yourself, what do I constantly tell myself that keeps me stuck? Write it down. It could be something like, I'm not smart enough to start that business. Or, I'll never find love again because of my past. Or, I can't change. I've been this way too long. These are the invisible chains you must recognize. Second, question them. Where did this belief come from? Who told you that you couldn't? Was it a teacher, a parent, a boss, or maybe even your own voice after a failure running through the park? Understand this, just because someone else couldn't see your potential doesn't mean you don't have it. And just because you failed once doesn't mean you will fail forever. Third, replace them. A limiting belief cannot simply be removed, it must be replaced with an empowering belief. Instead of, I can't do this, start saying, I can learn this. Instead of, I've failed too many times. Say, every failure is shaping me for success. Instead of, I'm not enough. Affirm, I am growing, I am capable, I am worthy. Fourth, act against them. The fastest way to destroy a limiting belief is to take action in spite of it. If the belief says, you can't speak in public, volunteer to speak. If it says, you can't start that project, take the first step. Every action you take weakens the grip of that belief until it no longer controls you. Remember this, your life will always rise or fall to the level of your beliefs. If you believe small, you will live small. If you believe boldly, you will live boldly. The chains of the mind are invisible, but once you break them, you unlock a level of freedom no one can ever take from you. You must learn to silence the inner critic and amplify the inner champion. Stop letting fear have the loudest voice in your head, letting doubt be your default. Start speaking truth over yourself. Because when you change your beliefs, you change your choices. And when you change your choices, you change your life. So ask yourself today, what beliefs have been chaining me down? And more importantly, am I ready to replace them with beliefs that set me free? The world doesn't need a smaller version of you. The world needs the real, bold, limitless you. Challenge your limiting beliefs, and you will discover that the only thing standing between you and freedom was you. Freedom begins the moment you stop pointing fingers and start pointing at yourself. Too many people spend their entire lives waiting for the right person, the right opportunity, the right moment. They wait for a miracle, for someone else to save them, or for circumstances to magically change. But here's the truth: no one is coming to save you. Yes, people can inspire you. Yes, mentors can guide you. Yes, friends can encourage you. But at the end of the day, your life is in your hands. You are the author of your story. You are the captain of your ship, and if you don't take the wheel, life will drive you wherever the currents of circumstance decide. Ownership means responsibility. It means looking at your life, not with blame, not with excuses, but with accountability. If your finances are a mess, you take responsibility. If your health is suffering, you take responsibility. If your relationships keep failing, you look inward and ask, what choices am I making that lead me here? Because as long as you keep saying, it's their fault, it's life's fault, it's circumstances' fault, you are handing away the power to change. This is where many people get stuck. Blame feels easier than responsibility. It's easier to say, I can't succeed because I wasn't given the same opportunities, than to say, I will create opportunities even if they don't exist. It's easier to say, I can't move forward because people keep hurting me, than to say, I will set boundaries and protect my peace. But hear this. Every excuse is a chain, and every time you take responsibility, you break one of those chains. Taking ownership also means refusing to be a victim of your past. Yes, bad things happen to you. Yes, life has been unfair. But you have two choices: remain a prisoner of those circumstances, or rise above them and take control of what comes next. Ownership doesn't deny the pain, it transforms it into power. Ownership also requires discipline. When you take ownership, you stop waiting for motivation and you start building habits. You stop wishing for success and you start working for it. You stop living passively and you start living intentionally. It's saying, I may not control what happens to me, but I will control how I respond to it. I may not control every storm, but I will control how I navigate through it. Let's be honest, ownership is not easy. It means waking up and doing the hard things even when you don't feel like it. It means admitting your flaws, taking responsibility for your mistakes, and choosing growth over comfort. It means saying, no more excuses, no more waiting, no more blaming. I choose to take charge of my life. The beautiful thing is this: the moment you take ownership, you reclaim your power. Suddenly, no longer helpless. Suddenly, you're no longer waiting. You realize that freedom is not about perfect circumstances. It's about your response to those circumstances. Think about it. Every person you admire, every success story you've ever heard, started with ownership. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for conditions to be ideal. They decided, this is my life, and I will not waste it. So ask yourself today, am I living my life as an owner or as a renter? Because renters don't care if the house falls apart. They say, it's not mine. Owners, on the other hand, fix, rebuild, protect, and invest because they know it belongs to them. Your life is yours. Own it. No more waiting. No more blaming. No more handing away your power. The pen is in your hand. The pages are blank. Write the story you want to live, because until you take ownership of your life, you will always remain chained. But once you do, you hold the key to every door in your future. Fear is one of the most deceptive chains in life. It whispers, it intimidates, it paralyzes. Fear convinces you to stay where it's safe, to avoid risk, to shrink back instead of step forward. And the tragedy is this: most people don't fail because they weren't capable. They fail because they never tried. Here's the truth you must face. Nothing changes until you move. You can dream all day. You can write plans, vision boards, and affirmations. You can pray, hope, and wish. But until you take action, your life remains the same. Action is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Now, let's be real. Courageous action doesn't mean you won't feel fear. In fact, if you wait for fear to disappear before moving forward, you'll wait your entire life. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward despite fear. It's standing in the face of uncertainty and saying, "May not know how this will turn out, but I refuse to stand still any longer." Think of every great success story. Do you think those people felt ready? Do you think they had every resource lined up? Do you think they never doubted themselves? No, they felt the same fear you do. The only difference is they acted anyway. Fear says, "What if you fail?" Courage answers, "What if I succeed?" Fear says, "What if they laugh at you?" Courage answers, "What if I inspire them?" Fear says, "What if you're not enough?" Courage answers, "What if I'm more than I ever imagined?" Courageous action doesn't have to be huge. It just has to be consistent. Sometimes it's starting small, making that phone call, applying for that job, saying no when you usually say yes, or finally taking the first step toward a dream you've buried for years. Every small step forward weakens the grip of fear and strengthens the muscle of courage. Here's another truth: the perfect moment will never come. If you keep waiting for everything to line up, perfect timing, perfect finances, perfect conditions, you will wait forever. There will always be reasons to delay. Courageous people know this, and they move anyway. They don't wait for certainty, create clarity through action. Taking courageous action also means being willing to fail. Failure is not the end. It is feedback. Running through the park, every failure teaches you what doesn't work and pushes you closer to what will. If you're too afraid to fail, you'll never succeed. People who win in life are not those who never fell. They are those who kept getting back up. Think of a baby learning to walk. Fall again and again, but each fall makes them stronger, more balanced, more determined. Don't quit because falling is part of the process, and neither should you. Every mistake is part of the journey to mastery. Action also inspires momentum. The moment you start moving, doors begin to open. Opportunities appear, people show up, resources come your way. None of this happens if you stay still. Life rewards movement. The universe responds to boldness. So ask yourself, what is one courageous action I've been avoiding? What is one step that, if I took it today, could begin to change everything? Don't just think about it, do it. Because the longer you wait, the louder fear grows. The sooner you act, the weaker it becomes. Into courageous action. Not because you feel ready, but because your future deserves it. The life you want will not come knocking on your door. You have to go out and chase it. Remember this: fear will always be there. It does not have to control you. Courage is a choice. Action is the proof of that choice. And once you step into courageous action, you'll realize that most of the chains that once seemed unbreakable were never as strong as you thought. They were only as strong as your hesitation. Stop waiting, stop doubting, stop standing still. Take the step. Leap even if your legs shake. Speak even if your voice trembles. Move even if you don't know exactly where the road leads. Because freedom doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who move. Breaking chains is not just about escaping. It's about stepping fully into the life you were meant to live. Too many people spend years, sometimes decades, focused only on what they want to run from: pain, fear, regret, toxic people, failure. But true freedom is not just the absence of chains, it's the presence of power, clarity, and purpose. When you cut the chains, you don't just walk away from something. You rise into something greater. You step into your power. And let me be clear, power is not something that comes from outside of you. It is not given to you by society or family or friends. It is already inside you. It's been there since the day you were born. But life, with its struggles, lies, and disappointments, convinced you to bury it. Running through the park. Reclaiming your power means remembering who you really are before the world told you who you weren't. It means silencing the voices of doubt and tuning back into the voice of truth. The voice that whispers, "You are capable. You are worthy. You are enough." Think about it. When you were a child, you dreamed freely. You believed you could be anything. You didn't worry about failure, running through the park, judgment, or limitations. Somewhere along the way, those dreams were chained by fear and reality. Reclaiming your power means daring to dream again, daring to believe again, daring to step back into the boldness of your younger self, but with the wisdom of who you are today. Power without purpose is like a ship without a compass. You may be free, but you'll drift aimlessly. That is why reclaiming your purpose is just as important as reclaiming your power. Purpose gives direction. Purpose gives meaning. Purpose fuels your resilience when life gets tough. Ask yourself, why am I here? What impact do I want to leave on this world? What lights me up inside? What would I do even if no one paid me for it? The answers to those questions are the breadcrumbs that lead to your purpose. Reclaiming purpose doesn't mean you have to change the whole world. It means you live in a way that changes your world and the lives you touch. For some, purpose may be raising strong children. For others, it may be building a business, creating art, teaching, serving, healing, inventing, or simply spreading kindness wherever you go. Purpose is not about size, it's about significance. And here's the beauty. Once you reclaim your purpose, you stop living on autopilot. You stop living for the approval of others. You stop drifting through life aimlessly. You wake up each day with clarity, with energy, with fire in your soul, because you know your life has meaning. But you cannot reclaim your power and purpose while still clinging to your chains. That's why all the earlier steps matter. When you identify your chains, release the past, detach from toxic influences, challenge your limiting beliefs, take ownership of your life, and step into courageous action, this is where it all leads to the moment where you can finally say, "This is my life. I will no longer live small. I will no longer give my power away. I will no longer wander without direction. I reclaim who I am. I reclaim why I am here, and I will live boldly, freely, and fully." Reclaiming your power and purpose doesn't just change your life, it impacts everyone connected to you. When you rise, you give others permission to rise. When you shine, you inspire others to shine. When you live with purpose, you spark a chain reaction that can light up the world. So reclaim it. Don't wait another year, another month, another day. The power is already within you. The purpose is already calling you. It's time to answer. Because cutting the chains was never the end. It was only the beginning of the life you were created to live. My friends, life is far too short to live in chains. Fear, regret, doubt, toxic people, limiting beliefs, all of these are heavy weights that were never meant to define you. You were not created to simply survive. You were created to live fully, to walk boldly, and to rise into your greatest self. Every chain you cut brings you closer to freedom. Every step you take in courage brings you closer to purpose. And every time you choose ownership over excuses, faith over fear, running through the park, growth over comfort, you reclaim another piece of the life that belongs to you. So today, I challenge you, don't just hear these words. Live them. Identify the chains. Release the past. Detach from what drains you. Challenge your beliefs. Take ownership. Act with courage. And above all, reclaim your power and your purpose. Because the world does not need another person trapped in silence, fear, or regret. The world needs you, the free, unchained, fully alive version of you. So stand tall. Cut the chains. Take back your life. And step into the future that's been waiting for you all along. Your freedom is not tomorrow. It begins today.